In a world full of high-tech gadgets and smart security systems, sometimes the best solutions are the tried-and-true methods that have stood the test of time. These are the tactics that don't rely on Wi-Fi batteries or apps, just good old-fashioned ingenuity and common sense. We'll cover everything from creating natural barriers that deter intruders to using simple, low-cost tools that send a clear message, this house is not an easy target. We'll learn how to think like a criminal to outsmart them, using techniques that are as effective today as they were decades ago. So, whether you're looking to enhance your current security setup or you're just starting to think about home defense, this video is packed with actionable tips you can implement right away. Stick around because by the end, you'll have a solid game plan to make any would-be intruder think twice before messing with your home. Let's get started. 1. Key weaknesses of modern security systems. When it comes to modern security systems, many people think they're invincible against criminal activity. Fancy technology, sleek gadgets, and 24/7 monitoring seem like enough to keep your home safe. But the truth isn't so comforting. For all their bells and whistles, these systems have some glaring weaknesses that criminals know how to exploit. Here's a breakdown of 3 major flaws in modern security systems that could leave you more vulnerable than you think. 1. The tech trap. Today's security systems are powered by technology that most homeowners don't fully understand. From Wi-Fi-based cameras to smart locks, these devices rely heavily on power, internet connections, and other tech infrastructure to function. The problem? All of it can fail. When the power goes out or your Wi-Fi drops, your smart security system turns into a very expensive set of useless decorations. Criminals are well aware of this and often exploit it. For example, a simple power outage, whether accidental or deliberate, can instantly disable key components of your system, from cameras to alarms. Add on the fact that tools like $50 zero-cent signal jammers are available on the black market, and suddenly your supposedly high-tech security setup becomes as effective as leaving your door unlocked. The dependency on technology doesn't just create functional vulnerabilities, it creates psychological ones too. Homeowners develop a false sense of safety, trusting that the system will always work as intended. But the reality is, no technology is foolproof, and when it fails, you could be left completely unguarded. This issue reveals a serious gap in modern security thinking. While technology offers convenience, it cannot replace a practical, multi-layered approach to home defense. Relying on tech alone is a trap that homeowners need to avoid. 2. The signpost effect. Modern security systems often broadcast what they are, and that's a huge problem. From prominent security company signs in the front yard to easily identifiable devices like smart cameras and doorbell systems, you're basically telling criminals exactly what kind of security setup you have and how to bypass it. Criminals are no fools. They do their homework. Those security company signs you think are a deterrent, they're a map. Pairing that sign with visible tech like cameras shows experienced intruders the type of system they're dealing with. Many systems have known weaknesses, like specific vulnerabilities to signal jamming, outdated software, or predictable monitoring patterns. A professional thief will figure out exactly how to exploit these. But it's not just professionals who can take advantage of this predictability. Even amateur criminals can find online guides that explain how to bypass popular systems. There's an entire underground market for this kind of information. The lesson here is simple but important. Security isn't just about having the latest technology, it's about unpredictability. And unfortunately, the signature of modern systems makes them far too predictable. Old school security techniques like reinforced locks or unmarked surveillance setups create uncertainty for would-be intruders. That uncertainty can make your home a far less attractive target. 3. Complacency kills. Perhaps the biggest flaw in modern security systems isn't technology or predictability, it's the false sense of security they create. When you install a smart alarm or a high-tech camera, it's easy to feel like you've done enough. But that confidence can lead to dangerous complacency. High-tech systems can't think for you, and they can't prevent human errors. Forget to arm the system, lose your phone or key fob, overlook a weak window. These mistakes happen all the time, and no amount of intelligence in your devices will fix them. Criminals are opportunistic. They count on these lapses in personal vigilance. A fancy doorbell camera won't stop someone from walking through an unlocked garage door. Similarly, an AI-powered alarm won't do much good if you don't bother to set it before leaving the house. People tend to overestimate the capabilities of their systems and underestimate the need for basic, practical security measures. The reliance on tech also fosters ignorance. Many homeowners don't take the time to learn how their systems actually work, or what to do when they fail. This lack of preparedness can be catastrophic when technology glitches or breaks down entirely. Old-school tactics, like having a sturdy deadbolt or an easily accessible secondary alarm, don't rely on apps or internet connections. They're simple, reliable, and effective. Complacency is the enemy of good security. No matter how advanced your system is, you have to stay engaged in protecting your home. Technology can help, but it should never lull you into a false sense of safety. 2. Lessons from real-life scenarios. When it comes to protecting your home, practical strategies rooted in real-life experiences often trump high-tech riddles. Technology can be hacked, bypassed, or simply fail when you need it most. On the other hand, tried-and-true methods steeped in human intuition and preparation often yield superior results. 2 lessons, one from the chaos of Hurricane Katrina and the other rooted in criminal psychology, highlight why old-school home defense tactics force criminals to rethink their plans. 1. Surviving the storm with grit, not gadgets. During Hurricane Katrina in 2005, the world watched in horror as New Orleans descended into chaos. Looters roamed the flooded city with impunity, tearing through high-tech homes as if they were nothing more than glass waiting to be shattered. Security systems dependent on power and network connections were wiped out like useless playthings, leaving homeowners completely defenseless. Yet, one Vietnam War veteran managed to stand firm against the storm's lawlessness. His security system? A trained guard dog. Physical barriers like reinforced locks and old-school manual alarm systems. These low-tech tools proved more reliable than anything his panicked neighbors had installed. His dog's menacing bark alone was enough to scare off potential looters who preferred easier, quieter targets. The manual alarm became an auditory deterrent, loudly alerting anyone in earshot that an intruder was trying their luck. The lesson here is that high-tech gadgets are no match for strategies designed to withstand the human element and raw physical threats, manual systems. Be they rudimentary tripwires, dog patrols, or simple but fortified barriers, are immune to power outages and signal jamming. When technology crumbles, having gear that doesn't rely on electricity or internet service could mean the difference between losing everything and standing your ground. 2. The fear of the unpredictable. The human mind is perhaps the most powerful weapon in home defense. To understand this, we need to dig into criminal psychology. Criminals aren't as confident as Hollywood often portrays them. They are opportunists, constantly analyzing rewards versus risks. And if there's one thing that makes them think twice, it's unpredictability. Show them a sprawling suburban house with shiny, visible home security gadgets, and they'll see a challenge they can prepare for in advance. On the flip side, a house that doesn't flaunt its defenses, yet actively signals signs of forethought and tactical preparation, sends a whole different message, one that screams, "You don't want to mess with me." Take, for example, visible signs of old-school readiness, signs of a dog patrolling the property, obscure but strategic lighting, barriers that force entry routes into bottlenecks. All these telegraph an inherent risk to anyone with bad intentions. Criminals don't want uncertainty, they want confidence in their actions, and an assurance they'll come out ahead. A house that exudes unpredictability tells them to move on to an easier target. Research shows criminals fear humans who appear prepared and uncompromising. A bark from an unseen dog is scarier than a camera they can jam. Classic deterrents like all access points covered, stickers, or signs that suggest traps or counter surveillance evoke primal unease. The unknown is terrifying, especially when time is of the essence. This psychological edge can't be achieved with just flashy tech. It requires intent and design, a blend of practical elements and mind games. Criminals are more likely to abort their plans when faced with unpredictability than when encountering tech they've likely studied online. And for homeowners, this understanding is vital to creating a defense line that doesn't just look impressive, but actually work. 3. Types of criminals and their strategies. Protecting your home isn't just about locks, cameras, and alarms. It's about understanding the mindset of the people you're defending against. Criminals aren't a one-size-fits-all group. They use different strategies, respond to various deterrents, and act based on their goals, resources, and desperation. To keep them out, you first need to know who they are and how they think. Below, we break down 3 primary types of criminals and the tactics they use so you can fine-tune your defenses with precision. Compass, the opportunist's window of chaos. Opportunistic criminals are the scavengers of the criminal world. They prey on moments of vulnerability, chaos, or simple inattention. Unlike their professional counterparts, they don't spend weeks planning their moves. These are the kinds of criminals who strike during small windows of opportunity, frequently from 2-4 p.m. when many people are away, or just after sunset when visibility drops but people haven't yet activated their defenses. Their tactics? Subtle but effective. They might rattle a gate or knock on a door to see who's home. They could leave something out of place on your porch or fence and check later to determine if anyone noticed the disruption. These tests allow them to gauge not just your physical barriers, but your presence and reaction times. The good news? Opportunistic criminals are usually easy to deter. Quick responses to disturbances, turning on a light, answering the door, even if only through an intercom, or having a dog bark can make them think twice. Visible deterrents like beware of dog signs, motion-activated lights, and solid locks also send a clear message. These criminals want easy, fast targets, not a homeowner ready for a confrontation. Remember, it's not about having the most expensive security system, but showing awareness and readiness. A momentary display of vigilance can make all the difference, since this type of criminal thrives on apathy and carelessness. 2. The strategist's master plan. Professional criminals are the polar opposite of the opportunists. They plan every move with surgical precision. These aren't people who rely on pure chance. Instead, they study their intended victims' habits, routines, and even neighborhood patterns to pinpoint the perfect time to strike. A professional might stake out your home for weeks, taking note of when you leave, when you return, and whether anyone else frequents the property. They observe your defenses, the type of locks, cameras, and alarms you use. They could even research known vulnerabilities in your security system, exploiting weaknesses like outdated software or signal jammer susceptibility. Their strategy doesn't stop with observation. They plan entry and exit points meticulously, assess how quickly neighbors or authorities might notice their actions, and often work in pairs or teams to maximize efficiency. But here's the kicker. Professionals avoid high-risk situations at all costs. If your property displays signs of tactical preparation or unpredictability, it's likely to end up at the bottom of their target list. To keep professional criminals at bay, you need to make your home an unattractive candidate. Layered defenses, deadbolts combined with secondary locks, obscure or hidden cameras, and even old-school tactics like privacy barriers confuse their plans. They know time is their enemy, and breaking into a home that's unpredictably fortified could mean getting caught or injured. Professional burglars don't play games. They'll choose a less complex target every time. If you suspect reconnaissance, be unpredictable yourself. Park in different spots, use timers to shift light patterns, or occasionally leave a car in the driveway. These subtle disruptions ruin their calculations, making your house too risky for their meticulously crafted plans. 3. The desperate wild card. Desperate criminals are the most dangerous because their actions often don't follow logic. They operate out of necessity. Think addicts needing a quick score, or someone dealing with financial hardship so severe they act out of sheer despair. Desperation pushes people to take risks that professionals wouldn't contemplate, and it makes them unpredictable. Unlike opportunists who strike when conditions are right, or professionals who calculate every move, desperate criminals act in the heat of the moment. They may break a window, rush through an unlocked door, or target homes with no obvious deterrence simply because it's easier than facing their own struggles. However, a desperate criminal can still be scared off. Strong defenses or the hint of danger can flip their fight or flight response to flight. Their recklessness doesn't make them fearless. To deter desperate criminals, you have to send clear signals that your home is not the one to mess with. That means visible barriers like steel-reinforced doors, sturdy locks, and even thorny bushes near low windows. Signs of strong defense, like security signs or even a barking dog, work wonders for sending them packing. Creating an intimidating aura around your property, one that screams, "I'm not an easy target," can discourage even the most irrational of intruders. While desperate criminals operate out of instinct rather than skill, their unpredictability makes them a serious threat. Staying vigilant, reinforcing your home's weak points, and maintaining a visible commitment to security are all key in preventing these wild cards from approaching your property. 4. Psychological deterrence tactics. When it comes to home defense, flashy technology often gets all the attention, but the reality is that criminals aren't always scared of it. What they truly fear is the unknown, things they can't calculate or control. Psychological deterrence tactics work because they play on these fears, leveraging unpredictability, visible preparation, and a predator's perspective to keep intruders far away. Here's how you can use old-school strategies to outsmart anyone contemplating breaking into your home. 1. Channeling the predator's mindset. The best way to fortify your home is to see it through the eyes of someone attempting to break in. Think like a predator. Step outside and evaluate your property critically as if you were planning to rob it. The goal is to uncover vulnerabilities before someone else does. Start by identifying weak points like dark corners, concealed approach routes, or spots where visibility is limited. Ask yourself, if I were breaking in, where would I do it and how could I go unnoticed? Dead zones behind garages, unlit side yards, or unlocked garden gates all scream entry point to a criminal. Fix these vulnerabilities by adding motion sensor lights, trimming overgrown bushes, or upgrading locks on all accessible gates and doors. Don't stop there. Think about how you'd test the waters. Criminals often rattle gates, knock lightly on doors, or leave small disturbances to gauge a homeowner's response. If these subtle tests go unnoticed, they take it as a green light to proceed. By thinking like a predator, you can preemptively eliminate opportunities for these signals. Always be one step ahead by ensuring no corner of your property feels or looks neglected. This hunter's mindset puts you in control, forcing potential intruders to reconsider whether your home is worth the risk. Actively hardening potential targets like points of entry and dead zones can protect you without relying on tech gadgets that criminals already know how to bypass. 2. Weaponizing uncertainty. Criminals thrive on predictability. They want to know what to expect when they step onto a property. If you deny them this predictability, you force them into an uncomfortable guessing game, and most will choose to back off rather than play. To create this sense of uncertainty, the key is to mix things up. Start with lighting. Many homeowners rely on static exterior lights that remain on all night, but savvy intruders can adapt to these. Instead, use motion sensor lighting or set timers for lights inside and outside your home to vary patterns. Criminals hate these setups because they can't tell if someone just came home or if it's automated. Audio cues are another effective tool. A barking dog is a top-tier deterrent for a reason. It's unpredictable. Even better, a well-trained dog adds a layer of unpredictability that can't be programmed. If you don't have a dog, try using manual alarms or noise-making devices that give the impression of an alert homeowner. Lastly, never develop a monotonous routine. Criminals stake out properties to learn your patterns, like when you leave for work or return home. Keep them guessing by running errands at odd hours, changing parking spots, or asking neighbors to occasionally park in your driveway when you're away. These little shows of unpredictability make your home a riskier target, pushing most intruders to move on to easier prey. Uncertainty is your greatest ally in home defense. Criminals despise situations they can't control, and a home that appears chaotic or prepared for every scenario is one they'd rather avoid altogether. 3. Displaying tactical readiness. Some homeowners think hiding their security measures is a good idea, but this approach can backfire. Criminals are less likely to test a property that openly signals readiness and preparation. The goal isn't to boast, but to send a clear message that your home is the wrong one to mess with. Start by displaying items that reflect tactical training or security awareness. This doesn't mean you need to hang military plaques on your front door, but subtle signs like outdoor gear, well-maintained tools, and professionally installed reinforcements make a strong impression. Items like reinforced door frames, visible security bars, and heavy-duty locks show that you've invested time and thought into securing your home. Another power move? Warning signs. A beware of dog sign! Even if you don't have a dog, can plant fear in a potential intruder's mind. Pair this with other visible deterrents like security stickers on windows or signs stating that surveillance is active. While many of these might seem small, their psychological impact is enormous. Even if a criminal suspects some of the signs are bluffs, they won't risk confirming their doubts. This sense of visible readiness can also extend to lawn and garden maintenance. Overgrown yards suggest a lack of attentiveness. Exactly what criminals look for. On the other hand, a well-kept exterior implies an alert homeowner who takes security seriously. Small details, like leaving a pair of muddy boots by the door or a dog leash on the porch, can reinforce the impression that your home is actively lived in and prepared. Criminals aren't looking for a fight. They're looking for an easy win. A home that looks fortified and well-prepared with clear signs of tactical experience will almost always encourage them to move on to a softer target. 5. Role of dogs in security. When it comes to home defense, few tools are as effective and underrated as a well-trained dog. Beyond being a loyal companion, a dog serves as a dynamic and adaptable security measure that criminals simply cannot ignore. Unlike static systems or technology that can be bypassed, a dog is a living deterrent capable of changing the game for anyone foolish enough to target your property. Below, we explore the unshakable role dogs play in home security, broken into 3 crucial aspects. 1. Fear the unpredictable. Criminals hate risks, and nothing heightens the fear of being caught like a barking, growling, or rushing dog. Dogs bring the one thing most modern security systems lack: unpredictability. While criminals can study a camera's blind spots or a door lock's weaknesses, they can't analyze or predict how a dog will react. A barking dog creates layers of psychological deterrence before an intruder even sets foot on your property. The possibility of being bitten, exposed by noise, or even confronted by a highly alert homeowner stops most trespassers from proceeding. What's more effective? A glass-eyed smart camera or a snarling guard dog pacing near the perimeter? For anyone scoping out your home, the answer is obvious. Dogs also bring a level of intelligence and awareness that static systems can't match. They react to sounds, scents, and movements, even if they're subtle or outside the direct field of vision. Criminals know that, unlike cameras, dogs can't be fooled, disabled, or muted. A live, thinking opponent is terrifying to them, especially one with sharp teeth and a knack for protecting its family. A dog's presence alone creates a risk criminals aren't willing to take. For anyone considering old-school tactics for home defense, a dog isn't just an asset, it's a walking, barking line of defense that technology will never replicate. 2. From bark to bite. Training for tactical advantage. A dog is only as good as its training. You don't need a perfectly skilled police dog, but basic and targeted training can turn an ordinary pup into a powerful security tool. The mistake many homeowners make is assuming an untrained dog will naturally protect the home. Some might, but others could easily panic or misread threats. Proper training bridges the gap, ensuring your dog works with you, not against you in stressful situations. One important tactic: training your dog to alert at the property line, not right at the doorstep. Many untrained dogs only bark when someone is already too close, which could completely ruin your advantage. Start teaching your dog to patrol wider boundaries, barking at unfamiliar activity near fences and gates. Early detection gives you critical time to prepare and sends a much stronger message to any would-be intruder. Commands like "watch him" and "stay" allow you to signal your dog into a protective mode, adding an extra layer of tactical coordination. This clear communication lets the dog know when to remain alert and when to intensify its activity, such as barking or pacing aggressively. Homeowners often underestimate how commands can change the entire dynamic of an encounter, letting the dog work as an active defender instead of a passive alarm system. Don't count out smaller dogs either. Breeds known for their alertness, like terriers or dachshunds, make incredible watchdogs. Their keen senses and relentless energy mean they'll never sleep through a disturbance. Size doesn't always matter. Their persistence and volume can be more than enough to stop an intruder before they even get started. 3. Leveling up with advanced techniques. For those serious about using dogs as part of their security arsenal, advanced training techniques can multiply their effectiveness in high-stakes situations. At this level, your dog moves beyond basic guarding behaviors and becomes a comprehensive home defender. One key method is training your dog to differentiate between familiar and unfamiliar sounds If a family car pulls into the driveway, the dog knows to remain calm, but an unusual noise, such as an unfamiliar engine at odd hours, sets off its defenses. Teaching this skill reduces false alarms while ensuring your dog focuses on real threats. Criminals thrive on confusion and uncertainty. A dog that can cut through the noise is worth its weight in gold. Even more effective, multiple dogs. Strategic use of more than one dog exponentially increases your defense capability. Pairing a large guard dog with a smaller, highly alert breed covers all bases. The bigger dog intimidates with size and presence, while the smaller one remains the first to sound the alarm and alert the pack to potential intrusions. This combination creates a layered defense that's nearly impossible for criminals to overcome. Advanced tactics also involve conditioning your dog to handle high-pressure situations. Simulating potential scenarios like encountering strangers on the property or responding to sudden loud noises prevents hesitation in real-life confrontations. A well-conditioned dog knows when to bark, when to hold its ground, and when to go into full defense mode. Invest in tools and accessories to complement your dog's natural abilities. High-visibility vests, protective gear, and even reinforced collars can signal to intruders that your dog isn't just a pet, it's a serious deterrent. The extra effort shows your commitment to security, turning your property into a fortress few criminals would dare challenge. 6. Traditional perimeter security. When it comes to defending your home, sophisticated gadgets don't always hold the upper hand. Sometimes, timeless, low-tech solutions are more reliable and way harder for criminals to outsmart. Traditional perimeter security tactics are built on simplicity, ingenuity, and understanding of human behavior, and they work. Here we explore 3 highly effective old-school strategies for safeguarding your property: manual alarms, natural barriers, and wind chimes. 1. Manual alarms, the intruder's worst nightmare. Forget tech. Traditional manual alarms use basic principles to alert you of movement on your property. Tools like fishing lines strung with bells or systems with multi-human alerts might sound rudimentary, but they're immensely effective. The beauty of these alarms lies in their simplicity. They can't be hacked, bypassed, or stopped by a power outage. For instance, a well-placed fishing line with bells or small metallic objects signals movement in specific areas like fences, pathways, or access points. When set at varying heights, these alarms can detect more than just footsteps. A low-placed line might catch small animals, but raising one to waist height ensures no human passes undetected. Criminals navigating unfamiliar territory in the dark will inadvertently trigger these impromptu alert systems, creating the panic-inducing sound of jingling bells. It's a psychological blow to the intruder, it's loud, attention-grabbing, and puts them at risk of exposure. Manual alarms also offer unparalleled customization. You know your property better than any gadget, so you can set these systems in key areas like back corners, side entrances, or hidden paths. No expensive sensors or app tutorials are needed here, just a strategic mind and some creativity. The best part? Manual alarms force criminals into a vulnerable, unpredictable situation. They rely on stealth, and the moment a bell rings, that illusion shatters. All their planning crumbles with one noisy mistake. Sometimes, keeping things simple is your most powerful defense. 2. Natural barriers landscaping that fights back. Never underestimate nature as a formidable line of defense. Natural barriers like gravel pathways, thorny plants, and strategically placed landscaping work wonders in minimizing silent approaches to your property. Criminals crave invisibility, and these organic obstacles make anonymity nearly impossible. Start with gravel. A gravel path may seem unassuming, but it turns into an audible alarm when stepped on. The crunching sound of footsteps on gravel is impossible to mask, especially at night. Beyond security, it's low maintenance and visually appealing, making it a practical dual-purpose solution. Better yet, line your gravel paths with motion sensor lights. It's the ultimate 1-2 punch for catching an intruder off guard. Next, include thorny plants as a natural defense mechanism. Consider shrubs like barberry, holly, or pyracantha, which are not only aesthetically pleasing, but also highly functional. These plants come with sharp thorns or stiff leaves that make climbing fences or squeezing through tight areas an unpleasant experience. Place them under first-floor windows, along the perimeter of fences, or near any other entry points to deter intruders physically. Nobody wants their night of breaking and entering interrupted by scratches and tears from thorny bushes. It's pain they'd rather avoid. Strategic landscaping doesn't end there. Trim bushes and tree limbs to prevent anyone from using them as cover while sneaking closer to your home. Create clear sight lines across your property, ensuring there's a place to hide. Use physical barriers like retaining walls in conjunction with plants to funnel potential intruders into noisy areas like gravel paths or brightly lit zones. Natural barriers are as much about psychological deterrence as they are physical security. When your property looks thoughtfully maintained and intentionally fortified, it sends a clear message. This isn't the soft target you're searching for. 3. Wind chimes subtly detect human interference. Criminals don't like drawing attention to themselves, so even the soft clinking of wind chimes can be a major deterrence. Wind chimes may seem like a quaint decorative element, but in the world of home defense, they're a clever, unobtrusive alarm system. When used strategically, these small additions become an unexpected layer of security. Here's how they work. Hang wind chimes in areas where natural airflow isn't constant, near entryways, gates, or low-use pathways. If a person tries to sneak through these spots, even the slightest air movement they create can set the chimes in motion. The resulting sound might seem gentle, but it's enough to alert a vigilant homeowner that something is amiss. For even better control, choose chimes with louder tones or unconventional design. Some wind chimes use heavier materials like steel rods or thick glass, producing a deeper, more noticeable sound. Others are paired with decorative elements that can act as visual cues like movement flags to further confirm activity. Wind chimes are also an excellent psychological deterrent. While they don't physically block an intruder, their presence creates uncertainty. Is someone nearby? Did the wind chime just expose me? The debate. This internal debate will push many criminals into retreat mode, especially if other security measures are present. Combining wind chimes with motion-triggered lights or visible cameras compounds the psychological pressure, severely reducing the likelihood of a break-in. Perhaps the greatest strength of wind chimes is their subtlety. While heavy-duty fences and visible alarms certainly add valuable fortification, criminals won't expect a decorative item to work against them. It's this element of surprise that makes wind chimes a small but mighty addition to any security setup.